Is it possible to connect with anybody at all and have a conversation that enriches our lives? I'm Andrew Riis, and welcome to The Experiment. Stephen Pressfield says the disease of our time is that we live on the surface. We're a mile wide and an inch deep. I believe there is depth, beauty, and inspiration inside everyone when we take the time to connect and listen. So I've started a podcast doing just that. It's called Hello Stranger, and each episode is a conversation with someone that is or used to be a stranger. This is a short preview of the first 3 episodes, which will be released on June 18th. Let's start with Raj, episode 1, who I met at a dinner party he threw for 40 complete strangers from the internet. Yet Raj wasn't always this way. He used to be incredibly shy, especially with girls.
So we're going out, and she's out on the front porch alone. She comes up to me and she's like, "Oh, where are you going?" And I was like, "Oh, me and my friends just gonna drive around for a little bit." And my friends got the cue, so they were like, they all walked back in the house. I mean, "Oh, can I come with you since your friends aren't coming?" And that's the point. You're like, "Sure, 100%." But dude, I just laughed. I was like, "Ha ha ha," and I walked off. And that wasn't intentional or anything. I just freaked out.
It was amazing to hear this story, because nowadays he'll even turn customers into friends.
I work at Priceline, so it's a pharmacy, and it was this guy. He was like 20, 24, 25, and he needed the help with like shaving cream or anything. He's like, "Dude, it's the first time I'm shaving." I'm like, "No way, like you're 25, it's the first time you're shaving." And he's like, yeah, I swear I've never touched a blade before. And I was like, "Dude, that's awesome." So we were talking about blades during work for a solid 20 minutes. And then I was like, "Hey," like he worked in the same center as I did. And I was like, "Do you want to like match up with breaks and we'll go grab a coffee or something?" Which to a normal person does sound a little bit strange. Right. And if it was said to me, I'd be a bit like, "Oh yeah, maybe." But no, he ended up agreeing and we ended up going, and dude, he's so awesome. I think some people get caught up in a bit of a bubble of where everyone's okay with the friends and groups they have right now, that we kind of forget that, I think we kind of forget to socialize with other strangers. And when you actually get out of that bubble and you see other stories and experiences from other people, you see how cool and beautiful it is.
Episode 2 is with Stephen, who I met at a community meetup of a YouTube channel called Yes Theory, which is about seeking discomfort. I really love hearing people's earliest childhood memories, and this was his.
I'm with my... Oh man. Oh yeah. That was a fun one. I was probably 4 years old. I was in preschool. And I'm with my best friend at the time. His name is Tristan. And we're in his house and we're listening to Candyman by Aqua. I don't know if you're familiar with that song. And we're just running around in circles around like the bench they have in their living room for no apparent reason, flailing our hands around, just like loving this song and just running around in circles, listening to it on repeat all day long as his mom sits there in the corner with a book and just smirks.
And Stephen still to this day loves playing and experiencing life. And he shared some thoughts around risk, including voluntarily living in his car.
It was 3 a.m. I was parked on some ghetto side street and I'm in the back of the car. I'm cramped up. I'm 6'2". I don't fit easily lying down in the back of a car. I'm cramped up. I have a blanket, a pillow. And I was just sitting there and I was like, man, do I rather be in this exact situation where I'm right now, where, I'm simulating that I have no money. I just have a laptop, a phone, and creativity and drive? Or do I rather have back at home Montreal, my bed, my job, my stability, a full bank account and stuff like that? And as cramped as it was, as uncomfortable as it was to sleep in your car and it's cold and you're scared, I still rather do that than go back to a life of comfort where everything was stable. And that's when I knew that I was A, in the right place, and B, that I'm comfortable with taking the amount of risk that I take.
As a side note, each episode is not an interview at all, really. It's a two-way conversation. Stephen caught me off guard in this one by flipping something I had asked him back on me.
What does impact look to you? Describe to us in the best way you can what that feeling is, what that vision is, what that sound is for you.
Say a person has a thought and they're going to do something and they have a thought. And you take that thought back to where that thought came from. And you take that thought back to where that came from. And that came from a feeling. And that came from an experience. And that came from another thought. What impact is for me is when you take it back deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until it can be taken back no further. That where you end up at is a place where the underlying assumptions are one of connection and community over separation, and ones of assuming love over fear.
Love that, dude.
And episode 3. It's with Anthony. I met him on Instagram, and when I went to LA last year to help Yes Theory with an event, he gave me a place to stay, even though we were basically strangers. He really is someone that cares and loves at a profound level. So I was curious. Have you ever been hurt because of how much you love at a deep level and how much you're open-minded and how much you trust people? And is that something that you're willing to have happen over and over again? And yeah, just what are your thoughts on everything I've shared?
Like, long story short, I think that growing up, I didn't really grow up with my father around because he was in or out of jail like most of the time. And as a kid, you always have a picture of your parents. And then I guess you don't actively seek out the bad in people, especially your parents. But logically looking at it, someone who's in and out of jail has a history of it. They're probably going to go back. But my dad would always tell me, like, yeah, I'm not going to go back there again. I'm not going to do it. And it would just be time after time that would happen. And as a kid, that hurts. And then I would grow resentment towards it. And that hurt me emotionally. So I'll still be kind of standoffish to this day with my dad, but it's kind of just learning more how to accept who a person is, and that you can't really change everybody. But that was emotionally draining for most of my life.
I also didn't have much of a relationship with my father at one point, which you'll hear about in the full episode. I was very moved by how much Anthony loves and cares. When I think of people that are needed in the world right now, dude, like the first thing that comes to mind after this conversation is people like you. People like you that have come out of the end of a situation and found the light and just love so deeply and are living so vividly. And yeah, man, like really, I feel very grateful and I feel very thankful for people that have come in contact with you because, dude, it just as it can be hard to predict the extent of what someone's going through, so too is it hard to predict the extent of our lives and how we live and how that goes on to impact other people. And that's it. That's Hello Stranger and what it's all about. My friend Kaley summed it up nicely. This idea that you don't need scholars or celebrities to create a meaningful podcast. Maybe some of the best stories are tucked away, folded into the pockets of random passerbys or strangers on the train, of people who may have just never been given a space to tell their story. If you enjoyed this preview and have Instagram, go and follow Hello Stranger Podcast. One word, no dots, no dashes. I'll be doing updates there before the big launch on June 18th. Oh, and one more thing. This project isn't only about me having conversations. It's also about you having conversations. At the end of an episode, you'll be able to fill in a form and get connected with another random listener somewhere in the world.